Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old Charles. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1997 United States $1. This small coin, worth just 10 cents, actually has a long history, and depending on its condition, it may even be worth more to collectors. So stick around as we explore its history, value, and how condition affects its price. The dime we use today is known as the Roosevelt Dime, first introduced in 1946. It was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His portrait replaced the earlier Mercury dime design, BY 1997. The dime had already been in circulation for over 50 years. Like all Roosevelt dimes made after 1965, the 1997 dime was struck in a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning it's made up of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This gave the coin durability and helped the U.S. Mint cut costs after silver was removed from circulating dimes in 1965 and 1997. Three major U.S. mints produced dimes: the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which produced proof coins with an S mint mark. On the obverse side ***, we see the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver at the time. The word "Liberty" is placed to the left, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," sits at the bottom. The mint mark appears just above the year 1997. On the reverse side, we find a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The inscriptions, "United States of America," "E Pluribus Unum," and "One Dime," complete the design. The U.S. Mint struck hundreds of millions of dimes in 1997. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.2 billion coins, the Denver Mint struck more than 1 billion, and the San Francisco Mint made around 2 million proof dimes for collectors. Because of such high mintage, most 1997 dimes are common and still circulate widely today. Now, let's talk about value. In everyday circulation, a 1997 dime is worth exactly 10 cents. However, condition makes a big difference for collectors. A typical circulated dime from 1997 is worth just face value, 10 cents, in uncirculated condition. Mint state grades like MS-60 to MS-65, values can range from $1 to $5. Higher grades like MS-67 or MS-68, which are rare and nearly flawless coins, can sell for $25 to over $100 at auctions. The 1997 S-proof dime, especially in deep cameo condition, can be worth $5 to $15, with rare perfect graded examples reaching $50 or more. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is king. Collectors look for sharp details, minimal scratches, and full luster. A coin that's been in circulation for years will show lots of wear, flat hairlines on Roosevelt's portrait, faded torch details, and scratches from pocket change. But an uncirculated dime, kept safe since 1997, will shine with its original mint luster and fetch higher collector value. Proof coins, struck with a mirror-like finish, are the most desirable among collectors. So, the 1997 US dime might just be worth 10 cents in your pocket, but in the right condition, it could be worth several dollars or even more. It's a reminder that every coin has a story, one tied to history, design, and the art of collecting. We're taking a deep dive into the 1997 United States $1 coin. While it might seem like just a simple piece of change worth 10 cents, its history actually stretches back more than 2 centuries. We'll explore its origins, design evolution, and the story of Roosevelt's dime, before getting into its modern-day value and condition. Let's begin. The dime is one of the oldest coin denominations in American history. The very first dimes were authorized by the Coinage Act of 1792, the law that created the U.S. Mint and established the dollar as the country's standard unit of money. Interestingly, the word dime comes from the Latin word decimus, meaning tenth, because it represents 1/10 of a dollar. The very first U.S. dimes were struck in 1796, and since then, the coin has gone through several major design changes before arriving at the Roosevelt dime we know today. 1796, 1807. The draped bust dime ***. These were the earliest dimes, featuring liberty with flowing hair tied with a ribbon. On the reverse, an eagle appeared in a wreath. These coins were struck in silver and are now highly collectible. 1809, 1837. The capped bust dime ***. Liberty was shown with a cap, symbolizing freedom. This design represented the early growth of the U.S. Mint and saw widespread circulation. 1837, 1891. the seated Liberty Dime ***, one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history. Liberty was seated on a rock, holding a shield and a pole with a Liberty cap. This design became a symbol of America's industrial and territorial expansion during the 19th century. 1892, 1916. The Barber Dime ***, designed by Charles E. Barber, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. It featured Liberty wearing a cap and laurel wreath. Though practical, this design was not very popular with the public. 1916, 1945. The Mercury Dime ***, officially called the Winged Liberty Head Dime, but most people nicknamed it the Mercury Dime because Liberty's winged cap resembled the Roman god Mercury. This coin became one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coinage history. It symbolized freedom of thought and America's growing global influence during World War I and the interwar years. By the mid-1940s, the U.S. Mint decided to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away in April 1945. Roosevelt was admired not only for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, but also for his role in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. Since the dime already had a connection to Roosevelt's cause, it was the perfect coin to feature his portrait, and 1946. The Roosevelt Dime was officially released. Designed by John R. Sinnock, the obverse showed Roosevelt's profile, while the reverse displayed a torch for liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. This design has remained virtually unchanged ever since. From 1946 until the mid-1960s, Roosevelt dimes were struck in 90% silver. But due to rising silver prices, the U.S. government passed the Coinage Act of 1965, removing silver from circulating dimes. From that year onward, dimes have been struck in copper-nickel clad composition, with a copper core and a nickel outer layer. This change made dimes more affordable to produce and more durable for circulation. By the time we get to the 1997 dime, the coin had already been in circulation for more than 50 years in its modern clad form, and 1997, the Roosevelt dime was still going strong, with billions struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and special proof coins produced in San Francisco. By this point, the coin was so common that it was part of everyday transactions, vending machines, payphones, and parking meters. Yet, even though it looks ordinary, it carries with it all of this rich history, from the very first draped bust dimes of 1796 to the Mercury dime of the early 20th century, all the way to Roosevelt's enduring legacy on the coin we still use today. The 1997 dime may just be a simple coin in your pocket, but behind it lies more than 200 years of American history. From silver coins of the early U.S. Mint, to Roosevelt's fight against polio, to the clad coins of the modern era, every dime tells a story. We're exploring the 1997 United States $1 coin. We'll look at its long history, its value, and most importantly, how condition can turn an ordinary dime into a collectible piece worth many times more than face value. Now, let's take a closer look at the condition of the 1997 dime, because in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Two dimes from the same year can have drastically different values, all depending on how well they've been preserved. Most 1997 dimes you'll find in pocket change are circulated coins. These are the ones that have been passed around for years, through cash registers, vending machines, and everyday use. Circulated dimes develop a dull, gray tone instead of the shiny brilliance of a new coin, and this condition, a 1997 dime is usually worth only its face value, 10 cents. The next step up is what collectors call about uncirculated, or AU. These coins may have been lightly used but still retain much of their original mint luster. Key features of AU dimes: the highest points of Roosevelt's hair may show very light wear. The edges are still sharp. The coin still looks bright, with only a few signs of handling, and this grade, a 1997 dime might fetch slightly above face value, perhaps 25 cents to $1 depending on eye appeal. Then we reach the mint state, MS, grades, which are coins that have never been in circulation. These coins still have their original shine, known as mint luster. The Sheldon grading scale, used by collectors, goes from MS 60 to MS 70. At MS 60, the coin is uncirculated but may have noticeable marks or spots. At MS 65, the dime is very attractive, with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. At the top end, MS 67 to MS 68, the dime is nearly flawless, with incredible eye appeal. And finally, MS 70 represents perfection, a coin exactly as it left the mint with no visible flaws even under magnification. These are extremely rare. Uncirculated 1997 dimes typically range from $1 to $5, but those in the higher grades like MS-67 can bring $25 to $100 or more at auctions. Special mention must be made of the 1997 S-Proof Dime, produced at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins aren't made for circulation. Instead, they're struck using polished dies and specially prepared blanks, giving them a mirror-like finish with frosted designs. Proof coins are graded slightly differently, with terms like cameo or deep cameo to describe the sharp contrast between the frosted devices and the reflective background. A standard proof might be worth $3 to $5. A deep cameo in perfect PR 70 condition can reach $50 or more. Sometimes, condition isn't just about wear, it's also about uniqueness. Collectors prize error coins and natural toning. 1997 dime with an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or double die can be worth much more, sometimes $50 to hundreds of dollars, depending on the error. Over time, some dimes develop colorful surfaces due to chemical reactions with air and storage materials. A beautifully rainbow-toned 1997 dime in high grade can attract serious attention from collectors. If you have a shiny or proof 1997 dime, the best way to preserve its condition is by storing it properly. Use plastic coin flips or airtight capsules to prevent scratches. Avoid cleaning your coins. Cleaning actually lowers their value. Keep them in a cool, dry environment to prevent tarnishing. So, the condition of the 1997 dime makes all the difference. In your pocket, it's worth 10 cents. But in mint state, with brilliant luster, or in proof condition, it can be worth many dollars. Add in errors or beautiful toning, and suddenly a common coin becomes a treasure. Do you have any 1997 dimes in great condition? Maybe even a proof or an error coin. Share your finds in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Old Charles for more deep dives into the world of coins.